All right, here's our next problem. This is also solving a trig equation. And so let's see if I can try to just make this really clear here. You can't divide both sides by the sign of d. If I do that, it would be nice because the sign of d would just cancel out, both sides, and that would be nice. But you can't do that because the sign of d might be 0. So what I have to do here is go ahead and subtract both sides of this equation by the sign of d. And that's going to equal 0. And here's the domain I want to solve over, okay? Now I can factor a sign of d out of both of these terms. This is just real similar. I'm really just doing some algebra here, right? I'm going to get radical 2 cosine of d minus 1 equals 0. And now I have two possibilities here, okay? I have the sign of d is equal to 0, or radical 2 cosine of d minus 1 is equal to 0. All right, so d is going to equal the sine inverse of 0, the inverse sine of 0. So what I have to think to myself is, where is the sine 0? Where is the height 0? At what degree, what angle in the unit circle has no height? And I'm just thinking to myself, well, where I get no height, that's going to happen, okay, at 0 degrees. There's no height to that. It's just a flat horizontal, right? Or at 180 degrees, that would, right? Okay. Or at negative 180 degrees. So, in this range, those are the only places where I'm going to get no height. And so that's what I'm going to get for d there. Now let's see what happens over here. I'm going to get radical 2 times the cosine of d is going to equal 1, right? So the cosine of d is going to equal 1 over radical 2. Or I don't like radicals in the denominator, right? So what I'm thinking here to myself, cosine of d is going to be radical 2 over 2. And I know, I have this memorized, right? The cosine of d is radical 2 over 2. And so I know if I take the cosine inverse of both sides, d is going to equal the cosine inverse here of radical 2 over 2. That's going to be a 45 degree, right? On the unit circle here, a 45 degree right here. This is going to have a cosine right here, this 45 degree angle. Okay, it's going to have a sine of radical 2 over 2, but it's also going to have a cosine of radical 2 over 2. Now over here, this 40, right here, it's the same thing, except that this has a negative radical 2 over 2, so it's the second quadrant's not going to work. Third quadrant is not going to work, but the fourth quadrant is. Look down over here. So d, the cosine inverse of radical 2 over 2 is going to equal, I could see it's going to be 45 degrees, okay? Or it's going to be negative 45 degrees. Both of those are going to have a cosine of radical 2 over 2. 45 degrees or negative 45 degrees. And so I think that's it. I mean, within this range, it can't happen anywhere else. And so d is going to be an element of this set right here. It's going to be negative 45 degrees. Well, let's see. What about negative 180? Yeah, it could be that. So why don't we put that one first? Let's say negative 180 degrees, negative 45 degrees, just to put our negative numbers first, okay? Then it could be 0 degrees, it could be 45 degrees, or it could be, and if I just kind of scoot that over just a little bit, like I can move that up just a little bit. Can I move that up too, just a little right there? There we go, yep. And so last then here, it's going to be 180 degrees. So d can be, any one of those angles are going to work. So It can be these possibilities here, or it can be these possibilities. Those are the only angles in this range right here, from negative 180 to 180. Okay, that's it. Thank you.